I want to talk to you about how I got started because most people, when they turn 50 and they're in their 50s, they're thinking about how they're going to retire, how are they going to settle down. When I'm at dinner with my friends, that's what everybody's talking about. When's your retirement date? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm just getting started. So let me get into my story a little bit. So when I was around 45, I was on a getaway with my cousins in the mountains, and we were sitting in the cabin around the table. And the question came up, what would your dream job be? I thought about myself. I had become a mom and I was a wife and I had been a teacher, which was what I always wanted to be. And I thought to myself, if I could have a wish granted, I would want to be a spiritual connector. I would love to be like the guy we had just seen in town, this tarot card reader. I would love to be able to connect like him, but taking it a step further, I would love to be a medium to give messages from loved ones in order to show people that their loved ones were still around. And everybody just laughed, and they knew I had always been spiritual, but they knew also that I didn't have that talent or gift. There was no way, but we just laughed and we went on to the next person. But 10 years later, I'm doing it. And so let me take you through this. As a little kid, I was always spiritual. My grandfather read playing cards at a little card table, and he would predict when I would find money. And I just love that. It wasn't all the time because my grandmother hated it. She would give him the side eye and just hate every second of him doing that. She didn't want to get into that and fool with it. And so she just really discouraged him. But I tried to get him to do it when I could. And then as a teenager, I would go down to the palm reader and get my palm read with my friends because that was just so fun to hear. When are you going to get married? How many kids are you going to have? That was just something we loved to do. And then I'm looking for them, but my sister left these books when she went to college. I would just practice reading my palm and reading my cards, and I would do it for myself for fun. And it was a few years later, when I was a late teen, that my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And so I was still going to palm readers to see if she would be okay, and she wasn't. And so after she passed away, I went to mediums to see if I could connect with her and have some validation that she was still around me, listening for a certain word. It was the late 80s, it was the 90s, and there wasn't a medium to be found everywhere. You had to hear it from, word of mouth. And so I went every once in a while. I just wanted to get that confirmation sometimes. And I remember going to see a psychic that I stopped by to see on the way home from work one day after a field trip. I was a teacher, like I said, and I was disheveled and I just wanted some answers about whatever was going on. And she gave me a reading, and then she said she needed more money because my aura was dark or something. Anyway, so my point with that is just I didn't know who I could trust. And that's why when I said I would hope that someday I could be a medium if I could have my dream job and just have somebody that I know I could trust whatever they're getting that was coming through. And that would really mean something special if I knew what I was getting and could share that with people and they could trust me. And it was a few years later that the pandemic happened, and it was 2020. Everybody was stressed, including myself. I wasn't working because they weren't using substitute teachers. And my kids were older by that point. They didn't need me all the time. And so I was looking for something to do. And so my grandmother, she had been somebody who made these beautiful blankets. And so I tried my hand at crocheting and knitting, and this is as far as I got. I didn't have the patience to do it. And she made it look really easy. And I just didn't take the time to do it. So that didn't work for me. My brothers and my father, very musical. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to pick up an instrument. I picked up the ukulele. I figured that sounds really lovely, even if you play it wrong. And I did a couple songs and got the hang of that. But again, it wasn't a hobby that I was continually looking to do every day. Cooking, I didn't want to get too much back into that. I love baking cookies, but too many cookies when you're sitting around is not a great idea. So I was just looking for something, always had been looking for businesses. I'll talk about some that just didn't work out the way I'd hoped. But I was taking a walk and I heard this woman mention the Akashic Records. And she said, you can connect with your guides by just saying this prayer and repeating it a few times, and then your guides will be right there and you can ask them questions. I was like, are you kidding me? What? I never heard of the Akashic Records. I mean, at that point, I was 50 years old and never heard of what I couldn't even pronounce the Akashic Records. But I went home right away to see if I could open up my records, like she said, and see if it would work. And I did open the records. I went upstairs, closed the door, sat in my rocking chair, didn't tell everybody what I was doing. Didn't tell them for a long time, to be honest. And I just was tuning in and I felt something different. I think that day I might have gotten a word or two or maybe a song, but it wasn't much. But it was enough of that energy that I really was determined and excited to pursue it and see what would happen and unfold. And I continued to practice opening my records. And I was going in Facebook groups and trading and practicing and reading for one another. I felt so supported and energized and reassured by those spiritual practices that I was doing with other people. That propelled me and made me want to continue on and on. And so, as I developed, as I grew, I was learning how to open Akashic Records, got attuned to Reiki, found out that I was actually a medium through one of these Akashic Record sessions. I'll talk more about that another time. But I found that I was genuine and getting these messages that were there. People are enjoying them and were resonating with them. They're like, yeah, that makes sense. I can take that. And I would be like, really? I'm practicing photo readings. And this woman said, yeah, I can take this book that you just said that my dad loved. I can take this song. I can take his favorite holiday. And by taking it, that means it resonates with her about her loved one. And all these things. She's like, every single thing that you said, it leaves me breathless almost that you were able to do that. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, my dream has come true that I'm being able to connect with people and share the messages from their loved ones and know that I'm giving exactly what I get. I mean, I'm not perfect. I gave her some city somewhere that she's like, I don't know what that city doesn't make any sense to me. And maybe it won't ever, or maybe it will next week. Who knows? Maybe a job offer will pop up there or something. But the point is, a lot of it makes sense for them and it brings a lot of comfort to these people. And I have found it's so transformative when I have been navigating situations of my own these past few years. And I think, wow, wouldn't it have been great to have known about the Akashic Records and known that I could have done this for myself? Yeah, I did do, the cards as a teenager, but to really go dive deep into it and know that it was to be trusted and that I could believe these messages that I was getting and tune deeper into them and not feel like I was crazy or whatever would have been really helpful. And now I am just so grateful, though, that I have come into it at this point and can really trust what's coming through to help me navigate relationships or coming into the stage of life where my parents are getting older and how to navigate that not only with them but with my siblings and understand these relationships and dive into past lives on my own and figure out how this past life could help me now. And anyway, that is my journey and that is how I came to be where I am. And there's been a lot of personal work along the way. Like I said, just even coming out that I and telling people that what I do has been has been an experience. And when people had told me at the beginning, doing spiritual work, there's a lot of inner work that goes on. I was like, not me, I'm good. Oh my gosh. But it's been amazing to figure some stuff out about myself and meet other people and talk with them and learn about their journeys as well. It's just been beautiful, unbelievable. I was trying to blend those two words. But anyway, that is my hope for you with this channel that I can share with you some tips and tricks that I've learned along the way, some ways that you can dive into your own spiritual self. I can teach you those ways. And even something as simple as making a Reiki infused granola or a foot soak that you can use at the end of a long day. I know when I substitute teach, still there are days things don't always go right, honestly, obviously. And coming home and just working with spirit or getting that energy that from that Reiki infused foot soak or moisturizer that I created, that's real simple, has just been amazing. So that's what I'm going to be sharing on this channel with you. And I hope you stay tuned. Hit like and subscribe so that you can be updated when I post these. I'm definitely going to be posting more of these more often because I just hope that you find connecting to spirit as supportive and transformative and beautiful as I have found it. That would be my hope for you through this channel. So stay tuned. There's more to come, more stories. And like I said, I'm going to share the great parts because it has been great. Some amazing when spirit has come through in unbelievable ways. And also the messy parts, because I'm telling you, what you see on TV when people get it 100% in these mediumship readings, I'm a little skeptical because it's not always perfect, but it is just always beautiful and loving and happy and positive, and that's the energy that I hope that you find on this channel. So stay tuned for more, and I'll see you next time.